Hey you guys, welcome back for another video. So today what I'm going to be talking about is personality types. So all of the stuff that I'm talking about is actually from the book called Wired That Way. I'll put it right here. It is a great book, and basically what it's talking about is just analyzing the different personality types. When you're analyzing personality types, you're understanding how to communicate effectively with different types of people, being able to understand them on a deeper level because you actually understand what their true intentions are from what they've learned and grown up with. So communication is just vital in every aspect, whether, especially even YouTube, learning how to communicate to an audience, whether it be getting a job, understanding even the interviewer, maybe what their personal thoughts are and how they're evaluating you, a lot of different things. The first personality type, there's four different colors or personalities, and the first one is sanguine. This is a chart that I've used for a little while now. I found it on Pinterest. The link is right there, but I absolutely love it. It just kind of summarizes everything for me. But a sanguine is a socially useful type. Usually people who are sanguines are actors, salesmen, speakers, and pretty much they are, I don't want to say loud people, but they're more like personal, energetic, social butterfly kind of people in the world. Their strengths are that they are sociable, charismatic, outgoing, confident, warm-hearted, pleasant, lively, optimistic, a fun lover, spontaneous, a preventer of dull moments, a quick apologizer, and an easy friend maker. So I think we all know people like that who are sanguine, who fit into that category. It might even be you watching this. Hello to my fellow sanguines. And then a weakness of sanguine: impulsive, chronically late, shameless, forgetful, compulsive talker, too loud, too happy, distractible, not interested in following through with tasks that are boring, self-absorbed, exaggerator, and someone who appears unauthentic. So that is the thing with every personality types. There are pros and cons, and you don't have to fit all of them, but those are just some of the weaknesses. A lot of times sanguines, they want to take the floor, they want to be energetic and lively, and maybe sometimes they forget about all the other people in the room, and so that is a very common thing for sanguines. Then the next personality type is phlegmatic. So it's kind of the opposite almost. And diplomats, accountants, teachers, technicians, the strengths: relaxed, quiet, calm, content with themselves, kind, consistent, steady and faithful friend, accepting, affectionate, diplomatic, peaceful, peacemaking, rational, curious, observant, and an easy friend maker. So again, similar, but a phlegmatic, the way I think of it, is almost like a more toned down sanguine. They're more like, relaxed, calm. They're that friend that will always be there for you when you need them. But the weaknesses is that they're sometimes shy, they're scared of change, prone to laziness, they can be stubborn, passive-aggressive, indecisive, permissive, not goal-oriented, unenthusiastic, too compromising, undisciplined, sarcastic, discouraging, or non-participative. That sounded hard to say. So basically, phlegmatic are the getting type, and they're very kind people, and they're very nice, but sometimes they can be a little bit more shy and more reserved, which is totally fine. It's just another personality type. So it's understanding that if you're talking to someone who's a phlegmatic, you don't want to come off super strong like a sanguine and like yell in their face and use all these hand gestures and like freak them out. You want to be more calm, more subdued. That's kind of what is going to be more receptive to them. Then the yellow goldish color, a choleric, is the ruling or dominant type. Roles are leaders, producers, or builders. Type is fire. So basically what it means by that is like these are those people that are just like, they're strong, they're driven, they're hard workers. I think we all know those kinds of people. Maybe it's if you're trying out for a job, you're like focused on the money. You want to know like, what am I going to make? What do I got to do? Like, how do I get to the top as fast as possible? All those kinds of people that are just like, I got to beat the competition. Probably a choleric. The strengths: ambitious, passionate, leader-like, focused, efficient, practical, good at planning, good at problem solving, confident, motivating, a delegator, usually right, and great in an emergency. So I am not always right. I will always go to my choleric friends who have better perspective than me, maybe who are a little bit smarter than me in areas that I am not so smart in, and a delegator. So delegator responsibility. So for instance, if you're going to meet at a friend's house, who's that person that usually organizes everything? Is there someone that usually messages everybody and says, okay, we're going to meet at this place at this time. I'm going to be bringing this. You're going to be bringing that. Let's make sure like everything's well-rounded. there's probably one delegator that's usually dominant in your friend group, and that is usually the person who is choleric. So same thing, if you're talking to a choleric, they don't really like small talk. You just want to get your point across. For me, like, I'm more of a sanguine, so like I'll talk slower and I'll kind of like add a lot of fluff in my stories. Now, the weaknesses is that they can be too aggressive, domineering, inflexible, impatient, rude, tactless, argumentative, unable to relax, uncomfortable around emotion. People who are super uncomfortable around emotion. If you have, maybe you're in a relationship with somebody, you're like had a hard day at work and you want to talk about it. If they're a choleric, I'm not saying that they don't care, but they probably don't care that much, at least. I'm not saying that if they're a choleric, that means that they don't care about your problems, but they're probably going to try to like find a solution to the problem, or maybe they're trying to offer advice to the problem instead of just hearing you out if you just want to be heard, because they're the kind of person that like if something bad happens, they just want to talk about it and like get it over with or figure out how to solve the solution so they can move on. So that's kind of typical of cholerics. And same thing, low on empathy, discouraged by failures, too busy for people, intolerant, and a leader who demands loyalty. Again, not all cholerics are bad, like it's actually a beautiful thing. But again, the way I see choleric is almost like in abusive relationships. A lot of times it's like the manipulator, the person who wants to be the dominant one, the person who's the leader that maybe will take more advantage. Learning cholerics and learning and understanding how they operate is really important. And even so, you know, you can see all these personality types, especially like on Instagram and whatever social media you use. You can always see people's personality types through the way that they post, whether they post sappy, like long thought out posts and like poems and stuff, or whether they post like, I'm gonna go to this powerlifting competition and dominate. Like, yeah, you can kind of tell the difference between like what the personality types are. It's not that hard once you actually know what they are. And the last one, melancholic. They are artists, musicians, inventors, philosophers, doctors, the avoiding type. They are thoughtful, considerate, cautious, organized, excessive planners, schedule-oriented, detailed, highly creative in poetry, art, invention, independent, and good at preventing problems. It's those people who are very like in tune with themselves and their spirituality a lot of times. They're very peaceful. It's really nice to be around them. They kind of do their own thing. Just like people who are very creative, who are innovative, who you talk to them, like a lot of times you just feel more uplifted because they're so in tune with their creative side. But the thing is that the weaknesses, sometimes they can be obsessive, too cautious, prone to depression or moodiness, a lot of times because you're so in tune with yourself. That's the way I see it. Perfectionistic, pessimistic, difficult to please, deeply affected by tragedy, a person with tunnel vision, sometimes procrastinators, discontent with themselves and others, and prone to play the martyr. So basically, a lot of times people who have this personality type, they're very, very, very hard on themselves. Well, everyone has all these 4 personality types in them. It's just which ones are most dominant to them. But that's how I was for a very long time. I was very perfectionistic. Everything I did has to be perfect, even though I knew it wasn't. But especially a big thing that ingrains that in us is going to school and being taught that we have to get A's to be successful and we have to graduate to be successful. All that kind of stuff kind of just turns in your head so many times, and you grow up thinking that you're not worthy of a lot of things because you were taught that you had to be perfect in everything. So people don't try things that are new. I hope that you guys look at those and you start analyzing, you know, maybe which ones are dominant for you. Wired That Way, the book, you can actually Google the personality quiz and you can actually take the personality types quiz, and it'll actually kind of narrow it down to which one you actually are. Probably by looking at it or by having friends look at it, they can probably tell you which one you are. It's actually really cool. It's really neat to see all the different personality types in action. And then once you understand who you are, you can actually go and understand other people much better, because now you understand how everybody operates and you understand the strengths and weaknesses. So you're no longer judging people, but you're more so now learning how to actually interact with people in a language that makes more sense to them so that you can actually communicate better.